Welcome to Scriptural Snapshots, brought to you by Living Faith Ministries in Kaiser, West Virginia, where we bring the living Word of God into your life. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. We're studying about our prayer time from June the 10th of this year, of 2025, and we're talking about the day of vengeance of the Lord. And I'll just start out by 2 Samuel 22:35. David says, "He teaches my hands to make war, so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze." In Isaiah 13:2-5, it says, "Lift up a banner on the high mountain. Raise up your voice to them. Wave your hand that they may enter the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for my anger, those who rejoice in my exaltation. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like that of many peoples, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts musters the army for battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, the Lord and his weapons of indignation to destroy the whole land." Oh man, that's an awesome thing. We think about that as the end times. We think about that of when Jesus returns. But, you know, there's a lot of movements of God in the earth. There's been revivals, there's been reformations, and every time where true revival happens, things change. When reformation comes, it changes nations, it changes governments. We had a reformation at the American Revolution when we said no king but King Jesus. We decided we didn't want men to rule over us because men are, they change overnight. They go to bed and eat pizza, have a vision, and get up and murder a whole bunch of people. We said, well, no, we don't want that. We don't want the rule of men. We want the rule of law. And the law that they chose was the Judeo-Christian values. Our founding fathers studied all forms of government. They grew up under tyranny of a king, that his will became law. And they said, we don't want this. We want one law for everybody. And so they said, we're going to form the United States of America. And they said, it's an experiment. We don't know whether we can pull this off. Well, we are the longest living constitution in the world. Nobody has ever gone 250 some years as a government. It has not existed in the world. We are unique, but we're at the threshold of where we could lose it. Just because it's been here for a long time doesn't mean it's forever. God is forever. His word endures forever. But the United States of America, we've got to stand up and fight for the values that this nation was founded on. And you've got a lot of people today, they've been trained to hate the United States of America. They've been trained to hate God. And we look at God, and even in some churches, well, God's a tyrant, he's mean, and he wants to take away your liberties, and we're going to set you free by ignoring the law of God, by doing what we please, what is pleasant in our own sight, and we're going to be free. And we find we're just deeper into captivity of the world because the world is against God. And this is what he's talking about. He said, lift up a banner on the high mountains. Raise your voice to them. In other words, we need to lift up the banner. Jesus Christ is our banner. We need to lift up the banner on the high mountains, on the high places. In the places where Satan rules. The high places are where the demons in Israel's day, the demons of false religions would go up and they would build their altar on the high places because that was the closest you could get to God. And it was also a military place where they could control the territory and see everything that was going on. So God always wanted to take over the high places. The high places represent the authority of men. The power of men, the power of evil. And he says, lift up a banner on the high mountain, raise your voice to them, to the mountains. Raise your voice to the authorities that be. Raise your voice up, wave your hand that they may enter the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I've also called my mighty ones for my anger. In other words, God's getting ready to pour out vengeance. God's getting ready for retribution. He says, those who rejoice in my exaltation. He said, call these, the ones who rejoice in me, that I am exalted. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like that of many peoples. A tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts. See, these nations are mustering together against God. He goes on to say, the Lord of hosts musters the army for battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven. The Lord and his weapons of indignation to destroy the whole land. In other words, God is calling the righteous. God is calling the heavenly host to come to war against these mountains, these defenses that Satan has set up to rule and to reign over men. He's coming against them, and he's going to destroy the whole land, the whole territory of the enemy that the enemy possesses. God is getting ready for a day of vengeance. We will see this, I believe, in our day, but if we don't, it'll happen one day, because we have the promise of the Word of God that he will have the nations under his feet. Oh, my. We are in the valley of decision. We must decide whether we're going to be a goat nation and rebel against God and buck God, or we're going to be a sheep nation and say, here I am, Lord, send me. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. God bless you.